Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with another decent deck profile, and this time we're covering the new starter, which is the Estacion. So it actually been out for a little while, and I get to play with the deck a little bit more, uh, because I want to actually feel the deck before I talk to you guys about different things. So here I am a little bit late, but it is definitely a deck that is climbing up and actually helping and very surprising, which as a starter with a little bit support it actually get to a very high level, which is something that I didn't kind of expected, but it's a good thing where if you actually like to read the manga, then you can actually win with some of the units that inside there, which I think is definitely a good thing to see. And instead of seeing a lot of same decks appearing again, at least you have more options, right? So what good about this deck is that you get to have yourself a little token unit, right? So this token is going to be the key victory. First, if you are grade 3 or higher Vanguard, then for each 3 gauges you have under this card your front row unit. Front row unit not only regard plus 5k. So if you have 6, then it's basically you can be a person, right? And it only requires you to be the grade 3, not opponent, so it helps you for early rush. And then it cannot be affected by opponent's cards, which is a very good protection. And then if you put 2 or more of your other regards maximum 3 as your plan gauge, you get a draw card. So it gives you draw, it pops your front row, and it also stack up the gauges for you to do different things, which makes the deck very strong. And also the grade 3 itself is a very decent card because you can color plus 1 to call yourself a plan token, and if you are using this skill to generate a plan token, you can actually directly put this under the token instead of calling it to the regard circle, so you can just simply stock in the gauge after you're using skills to just take up the space. And then you can look at the top 3 cards of the deck, choose 1 card, add to your hand, shuffle the deck. If you have 6 more gauges, instead of 3, you can look at 5. So it's something that you don't need to tell your opponent's what you take. It's kind of like the levy drops, but you can do it basically every single turn as long as you have the counter blast. So this is a very good addition to you for a defensive way, right? And when this card attacks, you can just discard 2 of your plan gauges, and then you can call one of the dragons that is feeding the theme from your drop zone or from your deck directly to the Riga circle. And if you actually searches from your deck, then you will shuffle your deck, right? So this is a way for you to do more than 3 attacks, and it's very important in this Dolikia deck because you actually need that kind of stuff. And their theme is basically called Blast. At least that's what the fandom is translating right now. So if you have the Blast category, then you can just simply call them out, which Estacion itself is a Blast unit as well. So there you go. And then for the rest of the line is using his own line, because you do need to gain the token for yourself. And when you ride the grade 3 on top of the grade 2, you can find yourself an order, add to your hand, and shuffle your deck. And the order itself is right here. So with this, you normally Soul Blast want to play this card, and then the effect that you actually play with it is for you to first put this card face up under the token, the blast token, as your gauge, so you increase the gauge by playing this order. And after that, you look at top 5 cards from the deck and choose a unit card that is same grade or below of your Vanguard and call it your Regard Circle. If you do not call, basically if you don't show up any unit that you want to call, then instead you can call a plan token, because sometimes you will just see basically all triggers and you don't want to call any of those, then you at least gain a plan token. If you haven't used the skill to draw cards, you can put those plan tokens as your plan gauge to power up your units while trying to draw a card, right? So this is a very good combo for you to not losing, like not having a disadvantage of having this order. And during your turn, if this card as a plan gauge is being discarded, you can choose one of your blast category units and get it plus 5k. Because it only say units, so you can put it to your Vanguard, you can put it to your Regard, as long as they are the blast category. And then here we are with 3 more Estacion for the power gain. And then we have the Winter End Dragon. So this one, if you have this card appears on Regard Circle with card effects, so basically your Vanguard skill, then or the order skill, because it's a card effect. If you have 5 or more plan gauges, then until the end of the opponent's turn, this card cannot be selected by opponent's card effects and you'll gain a crit. I tried to run without it, but I think the crit pressure is good to have. It's kind of like playing Saga, you always want to have the Karma or Prison Dragon for the crit pressure, so it's there. You don't always have to call this card because you do have other options, but when you try to push damage or when your opponent is at 4, instead of only relying on your Vanguard to attack and hopefully see a crit, you have something that you can actually generate to crit to apply the pressure, so your opponents cannot simply say no guard for. So I think it's definitely a very good card. And on Regard Circle hand, if your Estacion unit is being attacked and going to the guard step, you can put this card to your drop zone and you can select the unit that is being attacked and gain 10k power, so it can just go away by itself to give you a little kind of a shield value, and then the next turn you can just call it back out, gain crit again, and just keep repeating this. Okay, and then we do have the Summer Heat Dragon as well. Well, the Summer Heat Dragon is more of a defensive control blast category unit. If this card appears to the Regard Circle by card effects, so basically same as this, but this time only counts 3 or more plan gauges, and you can select one of your opponent's unit. Before their turn ends, they cannot intercept, they cannot stand in the stand phase, so it's basically paralyzed. And blocking intercept is definitely going to be painful to your opponent. And then if you have a Estacion Vanguard and you also have the token, this will get us 5k power and 5k shield, so it's a 10k shield, 15k beater, and then depending on how many gauges you have with the blast token, you have more power person, right? You get more power, and the order will give you more power. So it's also another card that is good to keep recycling for yourself. I tried that a few copies, but in the end I'm only basically calling one for the multiple attacks, and depending if I see the order, then it can apply the effects kind of more than once, right? So I'm only using one of those, which I think is quite understandable because you can directly search with your Vanguard, so you don't need that much copy unless you're facing an era that is like basically will just bind all your stuff so that you cannot reuse them. Then that's another story, but so far I don't think that is the case. So there we go. And then we have the Autumn Dawn. So this is basically a card that keep reviving yourself and generates a plan token on place. nothing else about this, but the reborn is from the drop zone in your main phase, and when there are playing gauges that's been basically put under your blast token, and if you have a Estacion Vanguard, then you can last one and call this card. Don't spam the reborn skill because it eats up your counterblast, and your Vanguard actually needs to counterblast as well. So don't make yourself trouble to not having the multiple attacks. But you can just simply call this out to generate the token, and then just put them in to draw cards with the blast token. And then because we are playing orders, then you can simply use the vids. If you don't have it, then you can turn it into like more of these to make sure you fit the space. But this card is also a paralyze. It also, if you play normal order this turn, then you can Soul Blast and try to search another unit out for you to beat up your board a lot quicker, squeezing your deck content that is not triggered to increase your triggering rates. Nothing too much to say else. It gets the plus 5k, but I don't think it's that much of a problem for you to care, but it's a good to have. Okay, next is the broccoli. So it is unfortunately not inside the deck because what inside is SSO8, this is SSO9, so I think it's for the Aurora deck, but you can simply find it easily. It's a very good draw resources. You play token unit, and it's a 5k gain on power and shield if you have a token unit, so very easy to use, and something that can actually help you with the Summer Dragon as 2 of the 10k shield in the front row. You at least have the choice, so you can dodge a very small guard restriction attack, which is going to be handy sometimes. And then I'm using the personal shield gainer for extra little bit of defense if you need, which is quite easy to get as well. So I actually use this quite a lot to gain the ticket, and it actually saves me because I do play a little bit kind of a rushing game, but I do want to have defensive as well. So this is going to help me 100%. And then we have the Spring Dragon. So the Spring Dragon is also a plant token generator, but with a active skill to Soul Blast one to do it. So as long as this card is still staying on your field, you can just Soul Blast every single turn to get the token. But do remember your order also need to use the Soul Blast, so don't spam the skill. Just use it when you need. And if you have 6 normal gauges, when this unit boosts, it will be a 10k booster, so something that can help you a little bit. And then Alvina and Mushrooms. Mushroom is to generate plant tokens for your early rush, for you to start drawing cards with the blast token. So it's great, and then it fills up your soul, so they can use it for the Strange Dragon. You can use it for the order, and then Alvina, we all know it's a very good card whenever you need to reborn stuff, you need to reuse your order. This is a card that's going to help you a lot. Try to avoid using her, but unfortunately I think if you don't use her, it's really going to hurt you quite a lot. So yeah, so far I don't see myself taking her out, but if you really need to take her out, then you can just try to fill up with the dragons, or maybe use the brave shooter to try get you some cards, right? But I don't see a kind of like a replacement for her yet, because when I change her to something else, it's not actually a replacement, it's something with a different purpose. So if you have her, use her. If you really don't, then try to use other generic pods to make your life a lot easier. And then PGs, I'm using 3 of the booster PG and 1 of the blitz, just trying to dodge some guard restrictions, and also with the train cost more and more defensive, because this deck, even though you do have a lot of cards that gain shield value, you do always want to have something that help you survive early game while you're rushing your opponent, because if they swing you very big back and you can't guard and you lose from that, that is not going to be a good ending for you. So make some defensive for yourself with the Summer Dragon, with the Broccoli, with the personal ticket, with Train Cast, should be able to help you survive a little bit, unless you're actually facing the bat and they actually pull the OT out, then GG, go next. Right. Triggers. Stoichia OT is just, I think so far for most of the Stoichia decks, you will go for the Stoichia OT. Nothing too much to say about that. For crit, I'm running 8 crit, 3 of the Trinket fronts and 4 heals. If you have Stoic crit, feel free to put them in. But I have to say, I don't like in this build to call the crit down to use it as a soul charging source, right? Because we are not, even though we do have ways to get quality cards into our hand, but I rather use it as a shield for me to survive, and I have enough resources to regain what I lost, and we have the mushroom for the soul charging, so I don't see the soul crit is actually being important here. If you really want like kind of like an insurance just in case, feel free to put them in. If you don't have it, just use whatever crit that is available for you, and that will be fine. Yeah. So what good about this deck is that you do have quality searches on attackers, on cards you want to add to your hand. You can do more than 3 attacks, which is very important in a Stoichia deck. You do have cards that increase your triggering rate by quality searching, and then the way of building up your front row attacks with the tokens, gauges, and your blast token can be very helpful even if you can't person right, because you will be stacking up more and more and more and more gauges, as long as you take care of how many gauges inside your blast token to just do the math, calculate the power. It will be it is going to benefit you a lot for sure, so that you will have a very good power lines. You get your resources, you get your draw, you get your surges, you get your multiple attackers. What it lacks is kind of just looking at your top deck and restanding the Vanguard. Else, it basically got everything. So it's a really surprising good starter deck that when you add a little bit more generic support will turn it into a very good deck. Because like a very quick review, these ones are from the starter, this is from the starter, this is from the starter. These ones are not, so these starter, this is the hardest one. This one is SSO, so it's inside. PG, it just PGs, right? And this is included, right? And then you just need to find yourself some fronts and some crits. Yeah, so even this is included, so it's a very valuable starter to get. And yeah, these ones are easy to get. This one should be easy to get. The hardest one will probably be these ones, right? So you don't need too much effort to actually build this deck. It's kind of giving me a similar feeling with the Gandiva, even though to actually get the generic support is a lot more expensive right now, but the idea is very similar, that you grind, you also get parts to early rush, and it will reward you with quality stuff from time. So yeah, give it a try when it released in English. If you play in Japanese format, definitely give this deck a try as well. I'm having fun with this deck, so hopefully it will be the same for you too. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments down below. Subscribe for more deck profile, deck fights, unboxing videos. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.